Welcome back to ONYX Financial Track. This is lecture number 14 and we will get started right away. So we're still on the inventory parameter screen, and in this lecture we will go through the weight settings. Before we get started on the tab, we just want you to note that this is all related only to items that can be weighted. So the first field, weights prefix, this is where the user can enter the code of the first weighable item. Item code length, the number of digits basically you will use to record the item's code. Weights barcode digits, that is the number of the digits that you will use to record the item's barcode. Weights base, that's the base of the measurement unit for, of course, the weighable items. Weights distinguishing, this variable opens up fields actually in the item detail screen, so we can distinguish between the weighable items. Remove one digit from the weight, either from the right or from the left. The checkbox include item, unit, and barcode. The system will automatically add weight units to the barcode. Alright, so the next and final tab in the screen, QR code settings. First of all, we use this tab to technically set up the QR codes, because QR codes are pretty much the next generation of barcodes. It's like the new thing. So QR stands for quick response. This code is basically in 2D. How do we set up the QR code using this tab? First of all, prefix QR code length. This determines the length of the QR code. It can start from a minimum of 2 letters. QR code length contains 2 fields. The first field is a drop-down menu that contains these options here. You can select the right option based on whether you want to use the QR code to be numeric or alphanumeric, binary, or kanji. If it's numeric, then we can type in the following field up to 7. If it's alphanumeric, then it's up to 4. If it's binary, then it's up to 3, and if it's kanji, then it's up to 2. For example, if we decided to work with numeric, then the QR code can contain data up to 7089, which is why we have these options equals, greater than, and less than, and so on. Number of barcode digits in QR code. The title basically explains what this field does. Alright, so that is everything for this screen. We'll move on to the next one, which is measurement units. This screen is where we determine the measurement units that we will be using with the items. We'll click on Add. Unit code is where we enter the ordinal number for the units that we will enter. Unit name and foreign name are just name fields. Then we have default size. As for unit type, we can select whether it's countable or measure. If it's measured, then we will have to specify the unit classification. We have 6 classifications: weight, size, area, length, liquid, and distance. If, for example, we selected liquid, we will be using the liter as the measurement unit. The checkbox at the bottom, connected with numerical units, means that the system will be able to give us the number of the liters. If the default, in the default size, in that case, we will write down 1. Which means 1 liter, unless the default in your line of business is more than 1 liter or less. As for update not allowed, that means that the system will not allow any modifications on the measurement unit once it's linked to items. Moving on to the next screen, item types. This screen contains 2 sections, and we will be using the upper one, which contains 3 fields. Type of item code. Once we click on Add, the system will fill that in. Enter the name and foreign name to create an item type. For example, assets, raw material, professional production, etc. We will not be using the table in this screen for now, because this table is used to link the item type with the stock groups that we will create in the inventory inputs, which we haven't really got to yet. So we'll move on to the next screen, which is item activities. We'll click on add, the number will be filled in. Name and foreign name of the activity that we will link to the inventory system. Quick reminder, by the way, if you're using the English interface, then you will need to type down the name in English in the foreign name field. So through this table, we can link the item activity with the warehouses, cost centers, and projects. Now I'll bring up the screen item levels. This is where we set up the criteria for the levels of the evaluation. So to clarify that sentence so you guys would understand exactly what the screen does or how it works, we'll click on add, the number will be filled in automatically, and we'll call this level of evaluation, for example, very good. We'll fill in, of course, the name and the foreign name. Alright, degree value means that this item should score 8 points to be rated or to be given this level of evaluation, which is very good. Now let's take a look at the table here. After clicking on appraisal criteria, the first one is turnover ratio. In compare type, we have two options, percent or amount. If we use percent, then we'll specify that if the item scores between 80 to 90% in the turnover ratio, consequently it scores basically the 8 points in the degree value and will be considered very good. The same concept applies for the rest of the criteria. So in the screen, we're basically just drawing the outline or the exact criteria that evaluates the item or puts it on a certain level of evaluation. Side note, the appraisal criteria can be modified from the evaluation standard screen in case you use different standards for the evaluation. Let's see if we can bring up the screen right now actually, so that you guys would take a look on it. Alright, so we'll click on modify, and from the checkboxes on the right, you can hide any criteria you're not using by unchecking the active box. You can even change the name of the criteria, but by the way, you will not be able to add any new fields in the screen. You'll need to work with the existing ones. Alright, so that's all for this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, and we'll see you in the next lecture.